Sasageo, my dudes. Welcome to another episode of the One Brain Cell Podcast. Are you choking?
A little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. I told you we were going to start.
And I didn't expect that intro, but okay, here we go.
Gotta catch everyone's attention. We're live, we're here, and we're ready to talk about, what are we going to talk about?
We are going to talk about Attack on Titan. I guess specifically, maybe one of the most dominant anime and manga in the past couple of years,
Wow.
How long has it been?
Like 15 years. Wait, no, it's like closer to 9 or 10.
Yeah.
It feels like 15. It feels like half my life has been waiting for this show to finish.
I mean, granted, from season 1 to season 2, it did take a while. A long while just to get produced.
We were literally different people.
Oh, yes, we were. We very much were.
That was my gateway anime, Attack on Titan.
Oh, how cute!
Me and my football playing roommate Tony, we watched Attack on Titan. We were like, "Yo, man, this is the coolest shit ever. What is this? It's like from Japan or something."
Oh, you chose a traumatizing anime as your gateway anime.
It worked, and then I kept watching primarily traumatizing anime until I realized other anime could be good too.
Yes, and I think that's why Attack on Titan was just such a pivotal anime for the generation, because it did bring it very much mainstream in a lot of ways that other animes didn't do. You know what I mean? Of course, you have your OG animes like DBZ, Sailor Moon, Pokemon that introduced
I didn't know that was anime.
Wait, which one?
All of them. I thought those were all American because they were speaking English.
I
was a child.
No. I understand. This is where Toonami kind of help but not help in a sense. You know what I mean?
It didn't raise awareness, but it made it cool.
It made anime cool because it always aired anime, so we knew we see what anime is, but we didn't understand that anime is a Japanese cartoon technically, and they speak in Japanese primarily.
It's even worse for me though, because I watched Yu Yu Hakusho and I liked it at the time, and that's clearly not an American name.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know. I thought Yusuke was just like me.
Oh my! I feel like all of us who actually were aware of anime when we were kids and continue watching anime understood that how big of a deal Attack on Titan was when it was first introduced into the game, right? Animation level peaked, gripping storytelling. It was so different. People were actually dying. Anime death is not a common thing to even have to begin with, especially for a mainstream anime or manga to begin with. I know it's heavy on the idea of politics, freedom, and all that jazz, and it was such a different genre to embellish yourself in versus hey, this is a fantasy anime and there's a power-up scale, and then we just gotta beat up on the next villain up to get power up.
Yeah, you just gotta be stronger to beat Frieza. Easy peasy.
You just gotta get over level 9,000, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you gotta have big hair, and the blonder it is, the better. Until it gets to a point, then blue and black are better, and who knows?
Oh gosh, the whole DBZ power up thing,
really,
it bothers me so much. But yeah, Attack on Titan was somewhat grounded in the sense that it is talking about humanity, and we're all very familiar about humanity. And then it's talking about this unknown creature. You're wondering, why are there these creatures? What is with these walls? How do they build these walls? How did they build the pyramid? It's all these questions.
Yeah, no, legit. And the striking visual of the Titan too is it catches you immediately. It's not just a giant person, it's a weirdly proportioned giant person who's naked and who's eating your mother.
Yeah, I think what was so gripping about the first episode was the fact that the Titan that ate I mean, whoever has not even watched Attack on Titan, this is
Oh
like
yeah.
you're like a decade too late on this,
Yeah,
and you're like,
watch this once you're done.
and like I think like the visual on like one of the first Titans that we meet, aside from like obviously like the colossal and the armored, is like the smiling Titan, the smiling female
I
Titan.
remember that shit. Like like I could visualize that perfectly, and if I could
Right?
draw, I could like recreate it.
Right, because it was so like haunting in a way, right? It was like a
Hmm.
cat. The what's that cat called from Alice in Wonderland? The
Cheshire
Cheshire.
cat.
Yeah, the Cheshire cat. Like you will always remember that smile, and it's like in a haunting, like creepy way,
Hmm.
pretty much. And that's how we pretty much saw it as, right? Like this first like introduction to a Titan kind of thing up close and personal, and then you see like the children's running and like how heartbreaking it is, and it's all in pretty much episode one.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, watching episode one when I first did watch it, I was like, I can't do this. Like, there's no way in heck I'm gonna be able to watch this anime because that was just so like, my little heart cannot take it. My little heart was so used to like
You,
One Piece and stuff.
what do you mean your little heart? You were like 20.
My little heart couldn't take it. I was so used to things like One Piece or like, I grew up with the golden age of anime where there's barely any deaths, and to have like a gruesome death within the first episode was just like, no, just cannot compute about like what was going on and everything like that. And I was just like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Look at you now.
I know, and then like I gave it another chance, and I like did my 3-episode rule for anime pretty much. And like obviously by 3 episode I was like, okay, this is very interesting once we got past like the traumatic part in episode 1.
Yeah, and then nothing traumatic ever happens again.
And I was such a like Mikasa stan just because
Yeah,
I love me a bad bitch, but let's be real now. Mikasa is not that bad of a bitch.
She was physically the baddest bitch. Mentally, emotionally, nah.
Not yeah.
Bad at all.
Yeah. Like that's what I'm saying.
She's bad in the bad sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I like Mikasa when she was younger because it was like everything was so like, sort of like understandable, I guess, like her unrequited love towards Eren and all these things like that.
Yeah.
And
it was excusable back then.
Yeah, but then as things went on, and Eren just kind of got like a little more crazy and shit.
He did
and
it for them.
I don't care who he did it for. The fact that Mikasa still kind of like believed in him throughout this entirety of everything, I'm like, girl, you fucking were crazy, and you're still going with it. I don't know.
Raise your standards.
Yeah, like you're just because he's founding Titan material and everything like that does not make him.
She didn't even know that.
Yeah, she didn't like. All she knew is that he was the Attack Titan, and
she didn't even know that originally.
Well, originally no, she liked Eren because he saved her, right? But like that should be your first red flag, right? When he saved her by killing one of the fucking abductor people.
No, that's cool. Guys,
I don't know, man. The kid was like less than I don't know how old he was, but he was a fucking child, and he killed somebody.
You forget how brutal that shit was, because like you kind of overlook it at the time because of all the other shit going on. But yeah, he just like murders a dude for not for fun, but like he doesn't hate it. He doesn't hate it as much as he should.
Like I feel like a normal person would have hesitations in terms of like killing someone.
Nah, he was like, let's go, brother.
Yeah, he literally was like, this is what's happening. And he did it without hesitations. I mean, he did it for a good reason, don't get me wrong. But it's still like, I feel like most people who are not
How many stabs is too many?
37.
Is that how much he did?
No, that's just how much Carl did.
Carl?
Carl the llama.
Oh my god.
Wait,
nice
Carl.
Yes, Carl. Good llamas with hats for all you millennials out there. Very good. Yeah, but he stabbed the shit out of that dude. But then, like, the Titans attack, so you're like, oh, okay. Let's just can't think about that.
Yeah, like it was like so much going on. And I think like we all like kind of overlooked a lot of things because at the moment in time, we realized how desperate the situation is, right?
Hmm.
Like with Mikasa's like abduction, how desperate the situation is. But it doesn't change the fact that he did it without like hesitation. And he's only a kid. Like what kid in their like right mind is like willing to kill someone without hesitation for someone they don't even know? You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's not like this is like, you know, when they first met, like Mikasa and Eren first met and everything, and he like fully willingly kill somebody because, you know, she was in danger and everything. Like not even like considering like, oh, let me just try to like incapacitate this person.
Yeah,
No,
that
like
person was incapacitated.
yeah, like, you know, in a living way, but nah, he decided full on
He was
killing.
angry.
The dude's got anger issues anyway.
Gee, you think?
I mean, like, even when we move forward, obviously, he always, like, gets into fights, has some, like, fucking problem. And
Yeah.
then when he, like, had his, like, little, like, when they had that time skip and he has his, like, glow up and everybody was fawning over how much he glowed up and shit like that. It was, like, he went from this angry child to, like, this very, like, stoic, mysterious type of character. And just to have it all revealed at the very, very end of things that he's still just a big ass crybaby baby and did not know what the fuck he was doing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you skip over to like the part where like he's like an adult who's angry also. Like he went from angry child to angry adult who was like, "Fuck you, John. You don't hate Titans as much as I do." And then like straight up went to like psychopath, you know, a natural progression.
Yeah, I mean, I won't blame anything about Aaron's character because it kind of does make sense as to like,
No, it does.
right? Like it does make sense in terms of his character, how he's this angry child who lost his family, his parents to these things, and all he wants to do is get revenge. Like his whole like character plot is pretty much like the idea of getting revenge, right? Like
Hmm.
that's it. Like Aaron is just revolving around revenge, and like he just to what extent we did not know to what extent though. Like all we knew is that he wanted to eliminate all the Titans, and then
Yeah.
somewhere along the line he was like, "Nah, I want to eliminate everyone who's in our way." Like somewhere along the line that started like started to become a fruition. You know what I mean?
Yep. And he also wants to kill that motherfucker who killed his mom. Whoever that is. We're gonna find him and Aaron's gonna take care of him, okay?
I mean, he did though.
Yes he did. Yes he did. That he got him, ladies and gentlemen. He got him.
But like that's why with Aaron's like character arc, I was like, I like it is this is it. This is like his character arc. Everything is like everything tracks.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then like I think like I mean you kind of feel this way, right? Where when Aaron like did the whole dreamscape shit and then you're like the fuck he's like he just admitted to being a dumbass who didn't know what the fuck he was doing this entire time and
That was the
da-da-da-da.
lamest shit ever.
It kind of was, but it kind of still feel like it tracked for me in terms of his character.
It tracks, but it's also like not cool. You know, like you can make a story that like kind of makes logical sense and follows a progression, but then like that's not the same as making a story that is cool and satisfying, you know?
I don't think that was,
Like this is not reality. Titans aren't real.
but I think like the mangaka's purpose was very much to show the humility in things. Like even like the most powerful person in the world was still like have these like thoughts, have these like doubts and everything like that. Like
Sure.
I think I think like the beauty of the ending is to just show how flawed humanity and humans are in general. I think that is the beauty of it all. Like you can give power to one person and they can pretty much rule the world if they wanted to, but that's still not going to change the fact that they are still human. Humans still makes mistakes. Humans still have emotions and humans still has fears and things like that. I think that was like the one big takeaway I took from the ending of it, as to
Hmm.
like Aaron kind of sort of just full out admitting he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And I'm like, touche, brother, because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing in life either. Like,
He's just like me, for real.
he just like me for reals. Because, like, let's be real now. Like, some of these characters are just kind of like, I don't know, like unrealistic in their own sense of ways. Like, they're very cool in an anime way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, but like, in realistically, they're not. I think, because like, Mikasa is just like OP for no reason, right? And then like you have
Well, isn't
someone
she
like
like genetically better because of the Ackerman bloodline, or is that like
yeah,
not really? Okay.
no, you're right, you're right. Her and Levi have both like the Ackerman bloodline and everything that like makes them like physically like better and stuff like that. But I think like that I guess that can fall into the in our real world sense, like some genetically blessed athletes and stuff like that,
Yeah.
or geniuses or whatever. And then you have like other characters who are like, it's just, I don't know. I think it's very interesting to look at each character individually. Like Gene. Gene just like is the typical Joe Schmo type of character, right? All he wants to
Yeah.
do is get into a job
He just
and
wants to
just,
get that stack that paper.
exactly. He just wants to live comfortably, and who can't relate to that,
Yeah.
And then you have like Rainier, who has like a lot of
Rainer had
like,
a lot on his fucking plate.
yeah, he did, right? Like he had like a lot on his plate in terms of his family, in terms of trying to like represent the nation, but also his own race in a place that pretty much discriminated against him and everything.
Yeah.
So like he had a lot going for him, and I think what really kind of took away from his character was his like weird obsession with Historia.
Uh, okay, you'll have to fill me in on that because I kind of didn't watch every season of Attack on Titan. So, like, what is the story with him and Historia?
He's just in love with her. Like
Because
this
she's
whole
like a little cute girl, or like because she's a
yeah.
queen? Oh,
No, because like he's always been somewhat in love with her. I feel like if I remember correctly, it pretty much started back when it was like when they were in the academy all together.
what's with the like? What? Why are all these characters just like become imprinted on one person? Like, like why don't they meet other people and date around? I don't know.
I don't know, because maybe there's not a lot of people their age to be dating because they got wiped out by the Titans. I don't know. Good question.
Maybe.
Because like yeah, I do agree. Like it just felt like I mean there was introduction of new characters right in the after the time skip and everything like that.
Yeah.
But aside from that, like it's very much the same cycle of people. Um,
So they just had limited choices.
but like I do think like a lot of it does like they did have a good variety of characters with like different types of personality, different types of struggles, and everything like that.
Hmm.
And in the end of it all, like what is like I can't understand what people are saying and why they don't like the ending or why they just felt like everything towards the end just like flopped. But at the same time, I'm just like, yeah, but like you gave a decade of your life to watch this anime, and I feel if you were to like take a second look at it and just like really look at it as to like what the mangaka is just trying to like get across to you, because it feels like he is trying to give a message, especially like that's the whole purpose of the epilogue, you know?
Yeah.
Like he wasn't gonna end it right then and there when Aaron like dies or whatever. He had an epilogue to show that there was a greater purpose of like the message to his manga or to the anime than what it really is.
Right, and like I was gonna bring that up as well, like the epilogue, because you say like yes, there's a very clear message I feel that the author has portrayed through all of this, and like the ending and the epilogue especially. But is it a message that you think is worth saying? You know,
Mm,
because it's very cynical and like almost to a pointless degree, in my opinion. Like it just feels like so devoid of optimism, and like I think we're at kind of a time in our own like personal history where it's like everyone I talk to is like, yeah, humanity sucks, like, you know, we're all like just like gonna fuck each other over and shit. So it's like it's not really something new to me personally, like, so
right.
that's why I think the ending didn't particularly like work for me. Like it works for the story, it completes the story just fine, but I don't think it makes it a better like experience for me looking back, you know?
I agree. Like this is when remember when we had this quick talk about like how I swore the manga ended with like Mikasa having the scarf wrapped around her and the bird flying away. Like,
Yeah.
and that was like how long ago before this actual and like the anime ending came out? Like, I swore that was where it ended, and then like at first I was just like, the whole Reddit world was like shitting, not shitting on it, like joking
They were
about it. How
shitting a
like,
little bit on it.
yeah, they were kind of shitting a little bit on it, but I think like when we like look back on it in like a full circle type of way, like Aaron was always chasing freedom, and the only like, and he always, I think there was mentioned how birds have the freedom because they can fly, and that was
Yeah,
like
well
the
that's the
whole,
symbol of the Scouts Corps. Like it's
exactly,
in our face the whole time.
exactly. So I feel like there was a lot of symbolism going on, and if it would have ended at where it ended
I think it
in
would have
the
been good
anime,
because it leaves
I
it
agree,
open, you know.
I agree, I agree.
Ironically, I think that giving it an epilogue like that that's so definite, it actually is taking freedom away from the reader, from the viewer, because now we
Interesting.
don't have the freedom to interpret or like kind of guess what's going to happen because we're just shown how, you know, the next couple hundred years of history turn out.
But I think like so I agree kind of in a sense like I like what the manga did, which is like, they ended there, and
Yeah.
then the whole like, remember how we had to look back into like the publishing of the manga, and then I confirmed that they published and this is where they ended. And then the whole epilogue was like a half chapter, like kind of extra on
Yeah.
top, right? I think like I honestly think they should have kind of did something similar to that, where like they ended where it ended, and then they added the whole epilogue as its own like little OVA type of thing.
Maybe, yeah, maybe if they dove a little bit into it, like showed those different eras, because it just showing it at the credits of the anime just shows it almost feels like a middle finger to you as an audience member, because it's like it was all futile. Who cares?
Mm.
All of your friends failed. The chance that Aaron gave them didn't matter. Haha, later, bitches.
I do agree in the sense where you were saying just before how like it took away the
Yeah.
ability to imagine. But in all honesty, like if we were to be real now, like if we ended it there and you at Mikasa at the tree, like would you even like wonder what happened in like what would have
I mean,
what,
to be honest, I did when the manga came out originally, and I didn't see the epilogue. I did wonder whether Armin and Reiner and everyone would be able to kind of make Aaron's like weird sacrifice of himself and like a shitload of other people actually mean something. So I did wonder, and
I
then
guess.
like seeing the epilogue later kind of felt like it took that away from me. And to be fair, to be clear, like I'm a pretty sensitive watcher of things. I get like personally attacked by like shit like this. So like this is not everyone's experience.
Okay, see, because I'm on the boat where like I'm willing to accept an ending as an ending and then call it a day. Like I will like end my attachment to anything if they give me the end sign. Once they give me that the end sign, my attachment towards it like pretty much cuts. And
So
that's
you don't
where
kind of try to extrapolate the story further at all.
I no, because I feel like it. it gave me everything that I wanted in a sense. Like it gave me some kind of conclusion as to like what I guess like it gave me the conclusion of what I wanted to know about. Meaning like it gave me the
Okay.
conclusion as to like okay, what is like because they did do like a little bit of an epilogue pretty much after Aaron dies, you know what I mean? Like they talk
Yeah.
about how Historia has to like be this, and then now the world is like like everyone is rebuilding and all this stuff like that. So they did kind of give us an epilogue. So they did kind of give me in a sense as to like what is happening. They gave me an understanding that like okay, the world is still on edge about things. Like as of like what has happened, and then you have like the gang pretty much like being diplomats in the situation. So like that
Yeah.
being said, like they already answered my question as to like what happens after. Like if they were to
Right.
end it at like Aaron dying, then I would be
Yeah,
like,
then you would be like,
what?
all right, hello.
Yeah. But then it's the fact that they added a little bit of what I consider as an epilogue already,
Yeah.
and I was like okay with it. This is the ending. They like tied it in full circle with Aaron being a fucking bird, whatever. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like this is what I mean. And then like I'm a little bit with you. Like it took away from the imagination, but then I also gave such a grim, such a grim outlook about like this whole anime. Like I understood that the anime itself is a very like dark, kind of dark anime in a sense. Like it talk because it's
Right.
like dealing with a lot of political humanities things. But then like to like really, really just like put the last nail in the coffin type of shit by telling us like it doesn't get any better.
No, it gets worse, and like occasionally a boy and a dog find a tree, and that could be your optimism, fuckers. Like,
Yeah, like it really fucking kind of tore me up a little when I actually saw that epilogue because I was just kind of like, it could have just ended and it
I
could have
thought they
been
were
like,
fucking with me.
me too.
Like, it's because it's so like tacked on. It was like it felt like that's like when you would like Jujutsu Kaisen or something. They would be like do like a joke or like Demon Slayer does like those little skits at the end. It felt like something like that, but then it was like no, here's like 100 years of future history. It's like what the fuck.
Yeah, like I honestly thought that too, and I was just like, I'm trying to like it gave me some vibe, and I'm trying to remember what it was. I don't know if it was Stairway Heavenly Delusion vibes or if it was
Uh,
like a different cartoon or anime type of vibe where they kind of did something similar of like showing like what happened at Adventure Time maybe. I don't know, like one of these like
hmm.
dystopia world or post-apocalyptic world type of thing pretty much.
Yeah.
um
It feels like the pessimistic version of Code Geass is ending. You know what I
I,
mean?
I love how you mentioned Code Geass because my little brother for this entire like time I was with him, he keeps bringing up Code Geass as being one of the greatest anime, and I'm
At the
just like,
time, I believed it. Code Geass was one of my like probably one of the first 5 anime I watched, and I heard like how the ending was the best, and like I used to watch this one YouTuber called like Arcada or something who would always be like the ending of an anime is paramount. So I looked for animes that had good endings, and it was like Code Geass, Code Geass. Okay, watch Code Geass, and it had a great ending. So I thought it was like the greatest show I'd ever seen. And then like the more years passed, the more I remember how like two of the 26 episodes were about Pizza Hut
yes.
and just like random nonsense. So now I definitely don't think it's like one of the greatest, but it's definitely was one of the good anime of its time.
I think okay, just to like sidetrack a little bit, I think Code Geass is like it's a decent anime in a sense. Like it had like a very ambitious plot and what they were trying to accomplish and everything. And I do think Deluge is kind of freaking a psychopath and a weirdo all at
Very
once.
much. Yes.
But like,
He's
but
what
like how
Aaron
he,
wishes he could be.
but like how he plotted out, like how he plotted out everything is like, let's be honest, like Deluge did a better job of plotting out something for a political like what is the word I'm trying to think of?
Uprising, coup, revolution.
like evolution, I guess, is a good word, where he was just trying to solve a lot of like issues by pitting himself as the bad guy and
Yeah.
ultimately sacrificing himself, right? Because they were both doing the same thing. They were both setting
Yep.
themselves as the bad guy and deeming someone else as the hero to lead the future of the whatever country they're in. And let's be real now, Aaron still had this subplot plan of killing the rest of the world.
Yeah, Aaron was fine if it worked either way.
And then like, but Delucia's like whole plot was, I want my friend, like I guess he was considered his best friend too, to be the hero of like the country, and he accomplished that.
Hmm.
What Aaron accomplished killing 80% of the world population and saving his friends. I guess. I don't know if he actually did, but like,
But then they all died in the nuclear war to follow, so who cares?
or maybe they even died before that. Who knows?
Yeah, they probably did die way before that. And then someone's like, hey, you know what's a great idea? Let's park missile launchers outside of the city and see what
Yeah, that was
happens.
weird. And then there was like at one point in this epilogue where I was like, is this 9/11 that they're recreating in this
Oh,
anime?
yeah, that was fun to
That
revisit.
was yeah, that was like a odd
No,
thing. I don't know if that was like an intentional or
I hope
unintentional
not.
thing.
I don't know.
I really hope not either. But I think all in all, if I had to rate Attack on Titan overall as an anime, I want to give it an 8
Hmm.
at the very, like, I think 8 is a very, is not like, I was like debating between like an 8 or a 9, because I'm like, it is a very pivotal anime for what it's done for like in terms of influencing the anime community, right? And
Hmm.
then we all can agree that it has like pretty freaking top-notch animation through and
Sound
through.
design, even more so, in my opinion.
Yeah. And then like it's always got such banger ass music.
Yeah.
Like you knew it was an Attack on Titan music when you heard it.
It's like
And
its
like
own genre.
right? And then let's talk about like, if we were to break it down, world building. It did I
Yeah,
believe
built
it
the
did
world.
really, yeah, it did a very good job in world building, and they did
Until the
like
epilogue. But one more thing about the epilogue before we go into
yeah,
like the series overall.
yeah.
I just remembered what something else the epilogue reminded me of. Have you ever seen in Futurama the episode where they keep going forward through time and seeing like the destruction of New York? And
Oh yeah.
that's what it felt like. It felt literally like one of those Futurama montages that are supposed to be a joke.
Uh
But anyways,
Wait, was that also the one where Professor always kept trying to shoot out the window to shoot Hitler?
Yeah, he tried to kill Hitler, and he succeeded the first time, but then second time
Missed
he had
it
to do a
every time.
drive-by, and he hit like Eleanor Roosevelt or something.
Okay. Yeah,
Very
yeah, yeah, yeah.
tragic. Yeah, so eight. I think 8. I don't know. For me, I might go a bit lower just because I didn't see a lot of it. Like, if I could judge it individually, like season 1 is like an 8 or 9 for sure.
Yeah, season 1 was such a strong, strong season.
Yeah, season 2 I fell asleep. Season 3 I didn't watch because season 2 made me fall asleep. And then season 4 I watched, and it was pretty good. It didn't feel as cool as the first season, but it was cool in like a different way. Yeah, I guess for me it would be like I'll say 7.5. Which is subject to change if I actually watch the whole show in order, which I probably will do eventually.
I think it's worth to do so, just because like I agree, it is like, I think when you hit like after season 1, after like such a like action-packed banger of a season and everything like that, they do have to divulge into like a lot of the politics and stuff. And I feel like
I
it
hated it.
wasn't season 2 that really did that for me. It was like towards the end of the series that did that kind of for me, where I was like, oh, like at that point in time, I pretty much was just only reading the manga. I wasn't really watching the anime. I only watched the anime at certain points in time when I really wanted to see the animation of it.
Mhm.
And I would say like towards the end, it was like a lot of text to read, like a lot of talking, and like because it was like a monthly anime, it was like 40 to almost
Yeah,
50 pages of just
and you
text
couldn't
reading.
remember what the fuck was even happening.
Yeah, it pretty much was like that. And that was when I was like, oh my gosh, this is like too much. I was like trying to understand everything, but not really understanding everything as to what was
Yeah,
going on.
like now that it's all out, I feel like it would be much more consumable.
Yeah, you don't have to deal with the gap either of like the between gaps of like how long it takes to produce the anime and everything. But
Hmm.
I think, but I do think like overall an 8 because I think where it fell short for me was like some of the characters developments.
Yeah. I mean, Aaron was the reason I came back to the show. When I heard that he did like an evil turn, I was like, all right, we back. This is
I think
interesting.
yeah, like when Aaron did an evil turn, I was like, I we getting somewhere and everything like that. But like I think like everything all the other characters has some type of growth to them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm trying just too hard to defend this point now because it's
No, they
like
do. A lot of them do feel underdeveloped, for me at least. But then again, I didn't see a season and a half. But it definitely did seem like, at least in the final season, like some people were just kind of there. Just like, hey, I didn't die yet. Here I am.
yeah, like who was it? Sasha. When
Love potatoes.
I mean, honest,
We lost the God's favorite soldier.
like for Sasha, she was a favorite for mine to be honest in the beginning because I thought she was such a hilarious character.
She
But like
was.
as things got more serious, like there was a point in time where her character did have a development, which is like is pretty much when she delves into like her past a little bit about like where
Right.
she was from, and then when she saved that little girl pretty much from the Titan. Um, so there was like that character boost for her, but then afterwards it didn't really change much. Even when she like
Yeah.
met that like chef guy, I guess, who was in love with her. But other than that, it was just like that's it. And then she died, and I'm just like, there was that. There was Jean. There was what's the Baldy's name again?
Connie.
Connie, like all of them felt kind of stale at some point. Like they
Yeah.
didn't really like progress anywhere in terms of like who they are or whatever. And I guess I don't know if that like was a point or not. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if that
Hmm.
was the point is to keep them the same type of people as they are, even if there was a time skip.
Yeah,
Like I
and
don't
under vastly different circumstances from where they started.
right, and I think like I guess like these aren't like major characters to really be looking at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like our major characters is always going to be Armin, Mikasa, and Eren typically, and then other major players would be like, I guess Zeke, whatever.
Levi.
Levi,
Wait, wait,
Hangi.
did you say Zeke?
I don't know. How do we say
No, his
his
name is
name?
Zeke.
Oh, because in my brain when I read the manga, I was like Zeke.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the I'd have to see the Japanese spelling, but I
No,
think
'cause
it's most likely Zeke.
I think it's Zeke. I think when I heard the anime say it, I think I heard them say Zeke, but then
Yeah.
for the longest time in my brain, I kept saying Zeke because it's like Zeke.
Like
That's why, like,
like Zeke Palmer.
what?
Kiki Palmer. Is that where you got Zeke from?
Maybe, maybe. I
No.
don't know.
No, Zeke is a pretty known name, I feel.
Not known enough for me.
Ezekiel.
Oh yeah, Ezekiel. Okay, Ezekiel, I know, but like, that's
Yeah.
not.
I thought Zeke was gonna be cool as fuck. And I guess he was a little bit, but then he wasn't.
And then he submitted to Aaron
Yeah, which is like the coolest thing you could do.
to submit to Aaron.
Yeah, but to be submissible.
I think like Zeke was a pretty interesting character when he was first introduced, right?
Yeah,
And then he
exactly.
somehow like became such like he had like such a big presence, and then like somewhere along the line, he kind of like became such a small character.
Yeah, that's how I feel about most of the characters other than Aaron, is that they all kind of fall off.
Yeah, and that's like I think that's where I fault like why I say 8 out of 10 because the characters really just kind of fell off for me a lot of it. Like everyone
Yeah.
just felt like there was nothing more to them, and it just got kind of stale as to like what they were.
See,
Because like
that's why I'd much rather them have focus on the characters than all the lore and history of like the Rice family and all that shit.
yeah, that was like so complicated all on its own too.
Yeah, they could have spent that time writing characters, but
Like
whatever.
I think like they could have done one or two things: either extend it and like delve into like it more to actually better explain it and not half-ass it, or they could have like done more character development and not like both of them were half-assed in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
the history and like the character development kind of sort of half-assed, and then like I do feel like they could have taken the liberty to make it anime exclusive of like delving in a little more for one or the other,
Yeah,
because like
I wouldn't say no to
honestly,
that.
yeah, because honestly the manga felt very fucking rushed to begin with. Like
Hmm.
dude was giving a deadline as to like when the fuck to finish it, from what I remember, because it was like he literally announced like, hey, there's only like 10 more chapters that I left, and I'm like, what, you're 10 more chapters left and we haven't even gotten to the main battle? Like
Do you know the
what
reason
is
he was
happening?
rushed? Like, why was this a self-imposed thing, or like did a publisher do it, or what?
Honestly, I don't know. And then like right, so after watching the final episode or the final movie episode, whatever, like
Hmm.
I was just like browsing around the internet, and then literally it just shows him pretty much like the mangaka himself, right? It shows that he pretty much finished the last page of the chapter, closes it, and then goes on to playing the Switch. Like
Boots
no
up Breath
care
of
in
the
the world.
Wild, like, all right, I'm back. I'm back,
Like
boys.
yeah, like but like he had like no care in the world about what the fuck
Yeah,
was
it
about to
doesn't
like
reflect
happen.
on it at all. Just like, all right, see.
But like, and then it sounded like he had like some regrets because he wanted the ending to be a certain way, and that's why he had the anime ending to be slightly adjusted and everything. So it sounded like there was something more to it. I don't know. I didn't hear of anything about him being rushed, but it just felt like he was rushed. I don't know
Yeah,
if it was self-imposed, producers, or whoever, really.
it definitely felt rushed. Do we know if like he's gonna, or she? I don't know if we know the gender.
Is
Uh,
he?
if he's going to write like any more manga, like, does he have any other projects that he's gonna do, or is
Nothing has been announced
oh,
as of
okay.
yet. Yeah, so
Bor-
that's why.
Attack on Titan Boruto?
Oh, wait. I think that was announced.
No fucking way.
Hold on. I can look it
No
up, but
fucking way.
I think it was, no, it's not like lore, but like I think it was announced that shortly after this finished airing, I think it was announced that he was going to do a backstory to Levi.
That feels so fan servicey. They should have done a regular story for Levi instead of making him like injured.
No, they're gonna do backstory instead because he's the dude's lost an eye. He's wheelchaired. Like,
Yeah.
ain't gonna happen, bro.
Yeah, but like, what backstories to tell? We like kind of started at somewhat the beginning of Levi's career, I feel. Maybe like you can delve more into Levi and Erwin's like past excursions, but not much shit was going on back then. Like, I don't really get the Levi hype that much. Like, I think he's cool, but I don't think I would watch a show about him.
Yeah, I think he's cool too. So it looks like he did do. So he worked on Attack on Titan for from 2009 and to 2001 manga.
21.
Yeah, 21. Sorry. Yeah. So that's the manga, and then 2013, 2014, he did do like a side thing for Attack on Titan. It was, but it's not like story wise.
Okay.
And he also made a crossover with the Marvel comics called Attack on Avengers, apparently.
Oh, interesting. I've not
In,
heard of that.
in 2014, and then he also did a one shot called
Hmm.
The Killing Pawn, The Killing Pawn. But yeah, aside from that, like mainly it was Attack on Titan. I don't where. where I found this announcement that he was gonna do like a side thing for
I feel like I heard about it, but I might have heard about it from you, so who knows? Because that's one
so
reason he could have like been rushing is if he was trying to write something else.
apparently Kotaku had like an article out back in October 3rd saying Attack on Titan is getting a bonus manga chapter 2.5 years after its divisive ending.
Oh, wait, 2.5 years in real time or in story time?
I guess real time. So it says volume 35 won't be a full-fledged book. It will just be an 18 page booklet called Bad Boys.
Bad Boys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, and I guess he introduced it at Anime NYC.
This year?
Yeah, it would be this year, because... Wait, when did the episode come out?
When did the episode come out? Like early November?
Okay, November 4th is when it came out.
Yeah, okay.
So this, like, extra chapter that he's releasing is gonna be coming out, like, in 5 months' time. That's what it's saying.
Wow. I can't wait.
So he is kind of still doing a little something, but I don't know if this little something is going to be justifiable now.
No, it sounds completely like fluff, but who knows? I mean, I don't think, like, if the boy just wants to take a break and play a Switch, that's fine too.
I agree. Like,
as long as he got enough money from Attack on Titan, which hopefully he did, let him play.
Yeah, like I don't see what's the point of like forcing him to do other shit.
Yeah.
I mean, if it contributes to like the main story, then fine. But I feel like when you start doing things like this, and it doesn't really like have a purpose to the main story, you're like starting to dilute.
Yeah.
What we already have.
I mean, unless he gave some details about it that might make it seem more intriguing.
Not really. I didn't see anything in terms of like what it was going to be about.
Okay, well, whatever.
There's like he's apparently done a bunch of stuff like manga, spin-offs, novel, like light novels. He's done too, which I didn't know about.
Good on him. Like Attack on Titan was mostly a good experience, but just not perfect, not infallible, which I guess, much like the humanity depicted in it, they have flaws.
Yeah, because I
made
feel
the
like
manga bad on purpose.
he made the manga to make us realize humanity is flawed.
Godly. the goat.
I just wonder, like, I don't know if he would even consider, like, I'm sure he's gonna want to make another manga, but I guess the question is, like, I feel like a lot of people who, like, has such a success for one of them, like, it's really hard to, like, make another banger. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've tried all those shows the guy who made Death Note made, and they are all fucking shit.
Wait, it was like Death Note and something else. Like,
yeah, he made Death Note, then he made the show about the angels who have wings on
no,
their
no. Like, wasn't there two of them? Like, it was one guy who made Death Note, and there was another guy who did some.
Was it like the guy who did Bleach or something? It was two guys. Yeah, like two like prolific dudes.
I don't think it was Bleach.
I don't know. It was something, but like it was like this Marvel Avengers type mashup between two superpowers, and then they just churned out the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen.
Didn't we say it was like Mirai Nikki, but not Mirai Nikki?
It was like Mirai Nikki, but like if all the bad parts were more and all the good parts were less.
Kinda, yeah, I guess. It was like Mirai Nikki minus the cell phones and with angels.
Yeah, which is like not a bad idea, but the execution was in like every episode we watched was always just shitty. The main characters, like this is the man that made Light Yagami and L, and he made the main character the most boringest dude I've ever met in my life. I would never talk to this man in person. Like if I saw him on the street, I would not talk to him.
We know the ending to it too, and it's just kind of like
ending's whack.
Like, is he okay? Like, does he need a therapist to be talking to? Because like, destruction of the world or destruction of like the entirety of mankind is like
it's played out, man. It's played out. Maybe he's gotten bitter since like Death Note. He's like, no one loves me anymore after Death Note.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I don't know if he's okay. I hope he's okay, but I don't know if he's okay.
That's how I feel about all mangakas. Like, they need to be slightly disturbed to make good content, I feel, but like not too much that it's like actually like a humanitarian concern.
What do you mean they have to be disturbed? Like
Well,
the
you know how
romance?
like to show like creativity, I feel like is kind of spurned on by like kind of abstract, not normal thinking, you know? Like that's how good stories are kind of made, especially in anime where like they go do some really out there shit. Like Attack on
I,
Titan was not made by a dude who's like perfectly sane, satisfied mind, you know?
I guess, but I feel like the idea of like wanting justice, freedom, and all these things like that are very like common themes in all of them. And you don't
Right.
have to be kind of like cuckoo for it, because it's like
Well, yeah,
One
but then he
Piece is
made
like,
like devils that follow you and like kill people you write in a notebook.
see, that's like one example of an anime, okay? Like
Okay,
you have other
okay. It
examples in
might not be
anime that
universal.
what romance anime requires you to be kind of cuckoo?
Um, I'm sure there's plenty that you guys can tell us, but I don't watch enough anime to know. But I'm sure there's plenty of deranged romance anime.
The most deranged thing about romance anime is the fact that they just don't tell each other that they like each other to just end it all.
Well, then you lose. Love is war. If you tell the
No,
other person, you lose.
we're not doing this one. We're not doing this one.
Just like real life. Never tell the person you like them. They
This
gotta
is how
find out.
you this is how you end up single forever. And
That is
this is why
correct.
this is
That
why
is correct.
weeds this is why the weeds are always single.
Yeah, don't listen to anime about. Although I don't know, maybe there's some anime with good advice.
I think so. My dress up darling was one.
Elaborate.
Like
It
so the reason why okay, we're like completely divulging away from Attack on Titan now.
Alright, we'll come
So just
back. We'll come back in a second.
like my dress up darling, I thought was like such a nice, refreshing like take on like a bit of romance and stuff like that because you still had like the typical story of a popular girl and a quiet boy type of thing in school, but like I think what made it like so wholesome of and everything is the fact that like they were not there's nothing antagonizing or nothing out of character for either of them in a sense like she's like popular girl type thing and but that doesn't mean she doesn't care about the guy. Like she takes a full on interest in his stuff. And she's like the one who falls for him first. Like it's not like the guy
Right.
falls for her. It's like she falls for him and she's the one who like more than willingly tries to like break him out of his shell a little bit and like more than willingly like wants to hang out with him all the time. Like she's the one taking initiatives to like try to be with him and stuff like that.
So like, I guess the applicable advice would be just like staying true to yourself and not like putting on a front kind of thing. Like not, just not being afraid to kind of show other people what you're about. Is that what you're getting
Yeah.
at? Okay.
Yeah, because like at the very end of it all, like in one of the last episodes, they were on the phone together, and she literally says that she loves him.
Oh yeah, but wasn't he asleep or something?
Yeah, but I mean, I kind of
Tragic.
he was
Tragic.
asleep. But, like I think like that's the point is that she's still like very shy about saying that to him
Yeah.
when he's conscious, But I think like the beauty of this show is the fact that like you have a strong female lead who isn't like save me, I'm a princess type of shit, like that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for a bad bitch that can carry herself, all right, with or without a man.
Are there any characters like that in Attack on Titan?
No. If you're gonna tell me Mikasa, I will shoot you because
No, I was not. No, we already went through why Mikasa's not. But what about like Hanju's? Is she like someone who's like that?
Hangi?
Is that how you pronounce her name? I don't know.
In my head, that's how I pronounce her name.
Sure. Hangi. Glasses girl.
Anji, yeah, like I think she's a very independent. She like did her best to do what was right for like the team, and that's why she was like one of my favorite characters because it's
Yeah.
like she has like that kooky side of her about being a scientist and trying to like understand something while other people were not trying to understand it.
Right.
Like 'cause she was trying to understand the Titans as to why they were like the way they were and like how they function and stuff like that. And it's not like she was doing this just because she likes to do it, but it's also like benefiting to her society to understand how they function, right?
Hmm.
That the fact that they run on sunlight, they won't function at night, and all these things like that.
Yeah. And she's also my type. Great
Like,
character.
and like when she took over as being captain, like she did the what would be considered one of the greatest sacrifices, obviously, right? Which is
Yeah.
herself. Like which is what Erwin did, and that's what she did, and it's all for the belief that there would be the greater good of her comrades.
Right. No, yeah, I think she was pretty good, but all the other female maybe Ymir, because like Historia came off as kind of weak, at least at first. Mikasa came out as weak mentally.
Yeah, which Ymir, the Titan Ymir or the first founder of
Definitely
Ymir?
not the first one. Definitely not that. That like feminism started like here, and she took it down even further. Like, goddamn, was that a mess? I guess it happens sometimes. I don't know. I'm not gonna try to defend that. I was not a fan of that, but whatever.
She was just emotionally abused, and she was trapped in a toxic relationship with the king.
You mean slavery?
Yes,
The most toxic of relationships.
yes.
Wow.
It was just such a weird thing to put that. It was like one thing to say that she was enslaved by him, which is like, okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
But like it was a whole other ball game to say that she was in love with him.
Also, that was tacked on like almost at the end and felt like almost like revisionist history.
I feel like I had to look it up, but like I remember in the anime, it pretty much said that she was the one who killed him, right?
Yes.
But I was like, when I saw that part, I was like, wait, why do I remember something differently for the manga? And in the manga, I had to look back onto it, but in the manga, it pretty much said that she dies. I don't remember what the cause of death was. She dies, but the king was still around. So when she died, he literally fed her to the three daughters so they would have her power.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah, so that's how you pass down the. Remember?
Right. Yeah, I remember that. I just forgot that like she would have actually. She couldn't have killed him if she was dead already. I'm getting confused.
See, that's what I was kind of like getting confused about too, because I was like, when I saw that, because what I remember was that she died and he fed her to the daughters,
Right.
and then, but then obviously in the anime it said otherwise, and I was like, well, this is getting confusing for me. Like, what the fuck really happened then?
I have no idea.
All right. I'm on
this.
this, I'm on the Attack on Titan wiki page.
All right.
So her history is that her village was attacked and then she got enslaved by the Eldians who murdered her parents and cut off all the tongues of the survivor.
Very cool.
And then one night Ymir escaped, and then Fritz questioned all the that's pointless. He pretty much like had her be hunted down as sport.
Yep.
And then she ended up climbing into a large tree with a chasm at its base,
Right.
seeking shelter. And then a mysterious spine-like creature fused with her and turned her into the first Titan.
Mm-hmm.
With her newfound power, Ymir returned to serve Fritz. So she returned to him. It wasn't even like she decided to use her power against him. She just ended up returning to him anyway.
Very cool.
And then so used her newfound power to help the Eldians under his command. And then she also vanquished the armies of the Marley. And to reward her for her service, Fritz took her as a concubine and together had 3 children, Maria, Rose, and Shanna. China.
Oh,
And
fuck, I forget what it's called, but it's the name of the 3 walls, right?
yeah, those are the 3 walls. I can
Yeah.
and it was speculated that during this time, Ymir grew to genuinely love and care for Fritz despite his behavior and attitude towards her.
That's very forgiving.
13 years after acquiring the power, she died while thwarting an assassination attempt on Fritz, and then found herself in the mysterious barren land, which is the coordinate that we
Right.
see, right? So, fucking Fritz forced his daughter to eat his mother's corpse in an attempt to preserving the power of the Titans. And he commanded his daughters to continuously reproduce, to have their children eat their spine upon their death, to perpetuate this ritual from child to child so Ymir's blood would not die out and Eldia could rule forever with its Titan.
Crazy part is it worked. Like,
Yeah, the crazy part is that
you
it
know,
freaking worked.
he didn't know that was gonna happen. He's like, yeah, eat her. Just like, see what happens, bro.
But you see where my confusion ends up being, right? When
Yeah,
I
does it
saw
make
that.
any mention of like a difference between the anime and the manga? Because I thought I saw that as well, but that would be like a year or two ago. No.
See, that's what I was trying to like figure out too. Like, I don't know if it was in the manga as well. I don't think I dove that deep into the manga. I just decided to just go on a wiki to figure it out. It just kind of took out this like really gruesome part, but still put the part that she was in love with him.
Yes, it's a love story at the end of the day.
I feel like this explains a lot more as to why they chose the idea of like eating each other to pass down the power. Because like I think one of the things was like in my head I was like, why is it that you have to eat the person to get the power? Like that doesn't make any sense. But like this kind of explains why you have to eat the person to get the power because it was literally done and passed down.
Yeah, from generation to generation.
Like, and on top of that, it was just like it just felt like Ymir. Like, where did this like creature even come from to begin with? Like, these are like the questions I have that I wish.
Where did he go?
This is not Cotton Eye Joe, okay? Like, this we just don't know where it came from to begin with, and that's why I'm just kind of like.
It kind of feels like a version of like
alien.
Avatar and Korra, where that's like the spirit world and like the Avatar spirit fused with like the first Avatar kind of thing. But then they don't eat the previous Avatar. So it's a less developed version of that, I feel.
But in Avatar, they coexisted. The spirits and the humans coexisted in a world, which is why they were able to see Rava and Batu.
Yeah.
Right?
Just like
But
Ymir was coexisting with the spine monster.
no, the spy monster came from somewhere because obviously there was nowhere in history before this talking about some shit like this.
They were in
Like-
the tree.
Like everyone knew who the freak like Batu and Rava were, but nobody knew what the fuck this little slimy shit was. I think that's like where I'm just like, where did it come from? So remember how in the end there was still that giant tree, so is it gonna be in that tree?
And maybe that's what they're implying. Could be.
Maybe.
The cycle continues or something.
Maybe the previous person who held this power, like, died there in that tree, and Ymir pretty much stumbled upon that tree and is now the Titan. And now this kid in the freaking epilogue is gonna be the next Titan.
He's gonna be Aaron.
Now we're just speculating everything.
Yeah. And I wish they could delve a little bit more into that, but then like they gotta tell you about the Reese family politics. Please tell me more.
Oh gosh.
That's what I'm saying. Like they had a lot of things to say, but they didn't choose to use the time wisely, which I guess could be kind of a victim of the manga release schedules and stuff.
Okay, so if we're talking about like things that fell off, right?
Yes.
So that's one. And like going about with like the Reese family thing, like how did you feel about Historia just marrying a random dude that we don't know nothing about?
Yeah, I forgot that even happened. I forgot she even existed, to be honest. Like, because, like, what is it? Why does it matter? Who cares? World gets
I mean,
blown
like,
up.
I guess it's supposed to matter in the sense that like she is now the queen and she's supposed to be leading this like civilization, right? And then you have to see her like kind of like chilling on the farm with this random
Well, that's
farmer
why they
dude.
shouldn't have skipped ahead in the story.
What do you mean?
The author with the epilogue, they literally fast forwarded on themselves. Cause like, why does it matter who Historia married? Because it doesn't matter because they get blown up by the missiles.
Well, yeah, I guess,
Who
but like
cares?
I think like I just felt like that was such a random bit.
Yeah,
It's such a random bit to just put in. You know what I mean? Like I understand that Aaron did not want to eat his or want to use Historia as a sacrifice. Fair, that's fine.
yeah,
But like to throw the random bit of like her being like in the manga, the way it was like introduced to us is that Historia was pregnant,
right.
um, and she was like living not in a castle for sure, but we didn't know anything about like who the daddy was. Like, so a lot of people online were speculating who the daddy was, and a lot of people were speculating it was Aaron because it was like the only thing that could possibly make sense to like pass on the Titan gene.
Nah.
That was like what was speculated, right? Because
Nah.
there was at one point I think Aaron does visit Historia, and everyone was like, "Oh, this is probably like a spark of their relationship."
This was the conception.
Yeah, so it was like a lot of that, and I was just like, oh, gosh, this is not helpful. And then obviously, towards the end of everything, it's nobody. It's a nobody.
Yeah.
But like, why put in that information? Like, it was just such a random thing to like make a character go through. And obviously, like when the whole world was going to shit, Historia was just giving birth to a baby.
It's a symbol, you see.
No.
Amidst all destruction, life finds a way.
No, that's literally the baby who was about to get thrown off the cliff.
Oh. Sorry, Simba.
But like,
Jeez.
but like that's like kind of sort of where I'm like, there's still so many like, does it matter to have an answer to it? No, but like, I guess what I was just kind of like annoyed by was like, why even put this detail in like when you can use that like space to be like doing something else with, right?
It was an interesting story, but it wasn't told efficiently, I guess we should say.
Yes, I agree in that sense. Like, I don't know if like he just kind of like ran out of steam or like it was just a lot of pressure
Which
from.
would be fair.
Yeah, it would be fair because this is like a big like part of his life at like a big chunk of his life too, whatever the case may be. Like all in all, it's still not a bad manga. It's still not a bad anime. You know what I mean? But to feel like
we're rating it on like potential versus actual realized like quality.
yeah, and I think like it had the potential to be like in my opinion greater than an 8 out of 10 for me. Like it definitely had that potential, but lo and behold, it just fell back down to an 8. So
which is still great.
it's still a good score because I feel like I do appreciate all the other elements that it provided, but that's it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if it's like a little bit less than the sum of its parts. You know, because it has so many great things to it, but like when you put it all together, it kind of diminishes it for me at least. But at the time, like, you know, season 1, like amazing, like all these others, like parts very good, but then once you put it, because the ending and like the last season and everything recontextualizes everything.
Yeah.
So like by necessity, it kind of changes how you feel about the past events. So I'm almost like want to separate like judging it sequentially as I saw it versus judging it as a whole. Because I feel like if I'm judging it as a whole, it goes, I'd say like a 7. Like I didn't care for it as much as most people. Like I think I like kind of the background parts of it most. Like I liked, for example, like the score and the animation and stuff like that, not necessarily the story or the characters.
Yeah.
So like the experience was great, but the quality for me is a bit lower.
That's fair. I think all in all, opinions are opinions, and these are just our opinions, right? And like I still feel like It's just funny how like the manga ending itself was like a very divisive ending, and like because everyone's like either for it or against it, and I feel like the anime just did the same thing,
Yeah.
even though like they were trying to like have some resolution towards this whole thing, but they ended up still having the same issue.
To be honest, with like all the crazy story subject matter in this show and manga, I feel like anything. I don't know if I could imagine an ending that wouldn't be divisive in some way.
But I feel like divisive endings are always gonna be like better. It's always gonna be more better than a shitty ending, right? Like a divisive
Yeah,
ending
for
is always
sure.
gonna be more better because like when you have a divisive ending, you have people that is willing to talk and have a discussion and everything like that about it. And like having these discussions, having these talk really does bring like a lot towards the popularity. Like it's like
Right.
how people always talk about like there's no such thing as bad publicity and everything, but like
Yeah.
this is like kind of in that similar sense. It's not saying that it's bad publicity. It's just saying that, you know, people are talking about it and it gets like it garners the interest in other people to be like, oh, I wonder what it is like. Maybe I can watch it and form my own opinion about it and see what everyone's
Right.
talking.
Or maybe the things that we say we don't like, other people are like, yeah, I kind of like that view on it.
Yeah,
But
yeah. So there's
it's
more
not
of a comment.
mediocre, which is
Yes,
important.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I'd agree with that. I don't think any part of it's really mediocre. It's just based on its own potential.
Hmm.
Like
I
Seven's still
agree.
really good. I'd still recommend it to most people, especially as like a gateway anime. See how
Yeah,
crazy shit can really get. You know,
yeah.
type of
No,
wild ass stories it could tell.
yeah, and I agree.
No, I was just gonna say I think that's why I got into anime because like Attack on Titan was my gateway because it showed me like a different types of stories that can be told through this medium.
Yeah. Now is the time to get you into yaois.
Wait, is that the boy shit? Is that
Boy love.
the boy love? Okay. Like, I'm not against it, but like, I don't know if it'd necessarily be for me.
Probably not. I just thought it would be
Because those
funny
are
to
like
open.
overindulgent too, right? Like, they're not just like romance that happens to be boy boy. It's just like, you know, it's for it's for the fans of boys loving each other, correct?
I mean, it's not like they full on do like
They don't penetrate.
kissing or like no, none of that.
Okay, I
None
gotta
of that.
ask. I don't know.
It's like it's like if we took regular romance anime and we just applied two boys into that situation.
See, that's fine. Like, I'm not like against that.
Yuri on Ice.
I have heard very good things about that from like, you know, even like people who aren't necessarily into that genre.
I think it just has really nice animation and music, honestly.
Yeah, like,
Like the music is good.
hmm and like even Attack on Titan. If like Armin, have you seen all the edits where Armin and Eren kiss at the end?
Yeah.
Like, and everyone's like, "This is the real ending."
Dude, honestly, if it just like if it did come down to that, I would just be like, okay, you
I
got me.
I would have kind of liked it more. That would have been really interesting.
I would have just been like, all right, you got me. You got me.
All right, you son of a bitch, you did it again.
Yeah. Because honestly, like all of us knew it was like always Mikasa and Eren, right? It was just a matter of like Eren just not admitting to Mikasa that he like did love her
Yeah,
and shit. And I like that people also made parallels to the fact that like in the very first episode you see Mikasa staring at like a praying mantis and how like a female praying mantis beheads their like mate.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, it was right in front of us. Like, the person, like the mangaka, like knew the plot for sure.
Yeah.
It's just the kind of finer details with like different characters and stuff that could have used more work.
Which is why, in my honest opinion and my delusional shit, was that I swore that the ending ended like, all right, we see that like Mikasa is by the tree and like And then the bird wrapped the scarf around her, and she says that's Aaron. She says thanks and goodbye, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you like black screen, and then you hear Aaron like getting called, like Mikasa calling out for Aaron, and then you pretty much like are in Aaron's point of view where he opens his eyes and he sees Mikasa.
Right.
And this is like literally going back to episode 1
Mm-hmm.
of like what happened when Aaron was like taking his nap at the tree, and then he wakes up to Mikasa calling out to him. And like in episode 1, you like see Aaron crying, but you don't know why he's crying. And this can be like a cycle.
Yeah.
Because what else did they did in Attack on Titan? Fucking time travel.
Yes,
So
sir.
it's like,
Yes,
I just
sir.
felt like that could have just tied everything up a little bit neater in the sense of like the idea of time traveling, because there's no way you can break a cycle when you do time traveling, right? It's like if we're going by the rules of Steins Gate, you have to like significantly shift the events to make it a different future.
Right.
But as Aaron said, he's tried multiple ways and still cannot find a way out of this.
Right. But it's because he's a big stupid doo-doo head. That's what he's
No,
told him.
he just like decided to just keep going with the rumbling. Like that's the whole point. It's like if you just shift your future, like your actions, like significantly enough, then your future would be different. But I don't think like he did, which is why his results always ended up the same way, and that's why he always ends up doing the rumbling. But like, how could we like have tied this a little bit better was the fact that like we show that Aaron resets pretty much, and then goes back to like him when he was like crying, because he didn't understand why he was crying, but it's probably because he realized like there's no way around it. Like it could be like he's crying because there's no way around it, or he's crying because like he sees Mikasa again, or like, you know, it could be many reasons as to why he's crying.
Right. Yeah, and that's why I like when you kind of keep that kind of stuff open more.
Yeah.
Because I would have liked it if it ended that way. My optimist ass is just like wants to think things are gonna end up well. Maybe he tries again, or maybe like his plan works and that like Reiner and the gang kind of make diplomacy work a little bit, or something like that. Great ideas there, like great kind of foundation. But you know, the missile launcher. It ends the great equalizer. It ends all be all.
Yes.
But I guess now the little boy and his dog are gonna become titans or something in the tree.
Maybe we'll have our first dog titan. Who knows?
Oh, you know, you were talking about how all the titans on like the big spine monster and the rumbling. We wanted to know like their story. Maybe that's what the Bad Boys OVA or manga thing is gonna be about.
Maybe. I mean, that would be kind of interesting to know about like each of the, because they're basically different variations of the Nine Titans, right?
Yeah.
So like they all look a little different, but they all just are variations of the Nine Titans. So like it'll be kind of interesting. I think somebody pointed out like that it was like there was like a lot of subtle hints throughout the entire like series and manga. The guy that took Zeke in, the professor guy that took Zeke in, he was also one of the Titans, and then he apparently had like this sheep doll thing in like a background scene. So basically, he was the one who was the ram Titan, the ram beast,
okay.
pretty much, and that was like, you know, the one that captured Aaron. No, not Aaron. Armin. Sorry, Armin.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that like shoved his tongue down Armin's throat. Yeah, that one.
Oh yeah, that was a cool thing.
That was so weird. And I think Zeke's Beast Titan was also predicted, because I think it was through a dialogue that he mentions about a monkey or something like that.
Right.
So, and then what he pretty much is the monkey Beast Titan.
Yeah, the giant ape who plays baseball.
Yeah. So that's why it was just like kind of interesting to understand, like, okay, Beast Titan is kind of like there is subtleties as to why they are chosen to be certain type of beasts, I guess. Are all the colossals the same? Are all the armor the same? I think the Warhammer Titans tend to be like using different weapons as their choice. Because
Makes
there was like,
sense.
yeah, because there was one Warhammer Titan that I think that like used like something that looks more like a spear, if anything.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Maybe like whatever they become has to be tied down to them in some sort of way. And it seems like Ymir is the one that like kind of creates their form in the coordinate.
Good old Ymir.
Mm,
We love her, right?
sure, sure.
Just like King Fritz did.
Ugh, God. Everything about that was like so disgusting when I read it. I was like, ugh.
It was definitely the yuckiest. Well, was it the yuckiest? It was up there. The entire Titan universe was started with yuckiness, and it continued to be yucky.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I knew something was wrong with this anime when I was like watching it, and then he ate his dad because his dad made him eat him, and I was just like, hmm. But let's just keep going.
Let's just see what happens.
Yeah, let's just see where this goes.
I mean, I do you remember episode 5? I think is where a lot of people like really got locked in. Is when Aaron gets eaten by that like bearded Titan.
Oh my God. Yeah, and then there was like, and then people were like, what is it? People were like, the one dude who had been a founding Titan, but he didn't
Yeah,
decide to like chew or some
yeah,
shit.
fucking forgot to chew.
But like, do you have to chew? I thought like he
I
like pretty much like chomped off his arm.
and I don't know. I don't know the rules.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, what the fuck is the rules here? Because he pretty much chomped off his arm.
Well, do you have to like digest the spine? Maybe the stomach fluid has to melt down the spine and goes into your cells. I don't know.
See, that's what I was like confused about. I'm like, that makes sense. Why did he become? Because at that time, Aaron was already the attack Titan, and he already should have the founding Titan from his dad too. So why didn't that one Titan become a founding and all that
That would
jazz?
have been
Who
a
knows?
cool twist.
Maybe he really didn't digest Aaron. I don't
But
know.
before like knowing all that Titan shit, that moment just was so like shocking that it like really piqued a lot of people's interests, including my own.
I know. It was like I think the meme of him, the meme is like arm in, arm out thing. That was
Oh
like
yeah,
so
yeah.
funny.
Oh my god. Have you seen the Attack on Titan abridged? I'm sure you have. I'm probably shown it to you a
Oh
couple times.
yeah, I have seen the
Where
bridge.
he's like in the bridge, he's like, Armin, you gotta listen to me. You gotta just pull me out. Come on. And he's just like, all right, I'm gonna count to 3, 1, and then he just gets chomped.
Yep, yep.
I love that fucking video.
I love the abridged stuff. I love just abridged stuff in general. They're like hilarious.
Yeah, like all this like super serious subject matter is just so fun to like make fun of.
Yes, yes.
It's every Attack on Titan meme has brought me so much joy, perhaps even more than watching the show itself.
Maybe you're just rating it better because of the memes.
Honestly, maybe. Like, I think for me to give it like an honest assessment, I would have to wait a while, like let kind of the hype die down and watch it all like in, not at one sitting, but like all like continuously. So I can kind of absorb things as they're presented instead of like, you know, the weird way we were given it like season 1 year, then season 2 like 5 years later. Like I read like season 3 like via the manga kind of.
Yeah. I mean, that's why like with the consistency of like a manga chapter coming out is the biggest reason why I always choose mangas to read over like watching animes for a lot of things. But I do agree, like, you know, it's been a while since the last episode came out, and my initial reaction was probably like very like, you know,
It's
bad
a lot more
about
harsh.
it. It was very harsh, but then like, you know, once everything settles down and I simmer down and like I took a good look at it again and just kind of refresh my thoughts about like certain things that have happened in the manga versus in the anime, and I'm like, all right, I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I won't say I love it, but I don't hate it.
So you wouldn't rate it like a top 10 anime?
I think when I was talking to my brother about this, and we were like, how do we rate top 10 animes? Like, do we rate top 10 anime as a personal choice, or do we rate top 10 anime?
Not like influence. That's how I do it, at least. I don't think the influence an anime has should bear any fruit on whether it's in your top 10, because there's a lot of like influential stuff that is absolute shit now, you know.
Right. I think it does make it to my top 10, but like barely.
Okay, so like bottom 3.
It probably is bottom 3 for me because like it did have like the anime slash manga did have a very interesting place in like my heart and like how I view animes in a sense. Because like it did shift how I view animes, specifically like how I view like fantasy world building and political animes or mangas because it like
Right.
it gave me a newfound it gave me a very much newfound appreciation for like political animes and things like that. Like Code Geass did not give me appreciation for that shit. Like Code Geass, I was just like, I just want to see how
No.
this goes, like kind of thing.
Yeah, Kogias was like kind of like just watching a genius work more so than like you didn't really care about the political atmosphere of like New Japan or whatever the fuck it was called.
Yeah.
District 21 or I don't know.
But like yeah, so like that's why like it gave me appreciation for like I think good fantasy anime is just so hard to come by.
Yeah.
And this is like one of the few fantasy animes that I was like, oh shit, this is like good. Like there's no isekai to this, there's no like extra shit to this. You know, it's like majority is like purely like meant to be a fantasy anime or fantasy manga.
I'm just now thinking of that, like, if they remade it and then called it That Time I Was Reborn as a Titan.
Oh my gosh. No.
That would be so bad.
No, stop. But like it was just like it brought up a whole genre for me that I never thought I would like ever like. And I think that's why it's like a top 10 for me. Not a high 10, but like a low one. Because it did do something for me. You know, it did make me contemplate about life, contemplate about humanity, contemplate about what it's like to be in love with a psychopath and then like having them just feed my body to my children or something.
Yeah, eating
you know,
your parents, yeah. Important stuff.
Yeah, but like yeah, I do think it's a top 10.
Yeah. I think I personally would be more comfortable like saying top 15. Like it could possibly be a top 10. I'd have to think about it, but like I think it's definitely a top 15 just because of like all those influences, those feelings, and kind of those plot elements that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, I think I might have to like sit down for this and like really like look at all of like the animes that I really like and then just try to sort them out to really decide if it does make it to a top 10 or not. But it's like it pretty much is like around there. I want to say can't promise.
Maybe that's next episode is top 10s. That could be fun.
Maybe.
Yeah, we haven't done that in a while, so like our opinions have probably changed since we last talked about it.
Yeah, because I recently was talking about it and I was like having such a hard time listing 10 animes that were like that meant something because it was like I have a lot of animes that like mean something for me.
Yeah.
And it was just hard sorting all of them out. And like I wasn't just including like anime series, I was like including movies and things like that too.
Oh, if it's movies, that's even hard. If it's movies, Attack on Titan's pretty low for me then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I have a lot of movies I like.
Right? So like that's why with movies I was like, oh, I just make this so much harder for myself to do.
Yeah.
But I do agree, like Attack on Titan is it's still a very good anime. I also would agree that I would definitely recommend it to other people to watch because it is such a well like executed anime all the way. In my opinion, it's a well executed anime. Even though like no matter how much I shitted on it, it's still a very well executed anime compared to like other animes I've watched.
Yeah, it kind of has the Death Note effect where it has like that immediate impact and like there's a lot of it that's good, but then like a lot of it is like, you know, not good and kind of falls off by the end. But it's still like Death Note is still one of the most recommended shows ever.
Well, Death Note first part is one of the most recommended shows ever. Second part is just non-existent.
Yeah, but you can't really say that to someone because then they start getting suspicious.
But like with Attack on Titan, I wouldn't be like first part great, second part no. I think like
it's like a kind of distributed throughout.
Yeah, it's pretty decent throughout the entire thing. Like first part is a very much banger, but like overall, it's like a very decent anime through.
Yeah, that's fair. Death Note just had that high. That was like
Ugh,
9 out of 10 show at least.
the potato chip scene.
And eat it.
I know everyone talking about the potato chip scene
It's the best. It's one of the best scenes ever.
of eating potato chips.
It like showed like the artistry of making the most mundane shit interesting. Like the camera's like zooming all around behind him and like close up, back out, like doing all this shit. And he's just literally writing and eating a potato chip.
Yes, pretty much, and listening to like the news, pretty much.
Yeah, and like the fucking organs are going in the background, just like dum 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 dum. Just like it's crazy.
All right, maybe next time we should like do our rankings or something.
I think that would be fun. All right, before we sign off and say goodbye, why don't you show your outfit that you've been wearing this whole time and haven't even look at it. It's trying to blur your feathers, but
No, don't blur it.
Sasageo, Sasageo. All right, y'all, that was one brain cell. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Bye bye.